good in your world, mystical soul? It's me, Nicole P, your spiritual barista, serving you wisdom, guidance, and inspiration from the cards. I have for you the weekly Tarot Brew energy reading tarot for this week ahead. Now, let me tell you something. You're going to want to grab your cafecito or tecito because I got something to share with you. Now, Monday, starting out, Mercury rolls into Taurus, and then on the 5th, a couple days later, we have the full moon in Libra. Let me just tell you something right now. This week, you will be receiving, if you so choose, because you have free will. You don't have to receive anything if you don't want to. But there's messages so much about where we overextend. So many messages around our soul care and our self-care. Messages around communication of our desires and how we want to be loved, how we want to be seen, and how we want to be valued. Now, if you're a person that's been overextending yourself for quite some time, watering other people's gardens and not really focusing on your own garden, you are going to get some downloads as far as like, whoa, this has got to stop. Now, sometimes we're watering gardens, figuratively speaking, right? So to speak, right? We're watering gardens. We're putting so much time and energy into something, and we know deep inside that it's not working, right? But either we're too scared to make a change, or we're like stubborn, right? We're stubborn. We're like, hey, this is how I did it previously and it got me here, and this is how I'm going to do it going forward. Well, this week is all about what you have been overextending yourself in, or what you've been overwatering, or, kind of going in circles about, is not working. And there's going to be downloads and messages for you as far as like, whoa, actually it's not working. I've been overextending myself. I've been watering other people's gardens and I'm not even focused on my garden. Or it's been like, I've been putting so much energy and saying everything has to go this particular way in my business, and it's not getting me anywhere. So this is a week of really deep realizations and messages as far as pivots. And there's courage that we're going to receive in this week from this full moon in Libra, not in Virgo. I got Virgo on my brain. But really about equilibrium and flow. It's almost as if we've been in a Two of Cups reverse kind of vibe for some time, and there's this embodied consciousness that has come to surface. And with that Knight of Wands, so the Knight of Cups reverse is like overextended, like you are spread way too thin, or you're putting your time, focus, and energy into something that's not yielding the results that you deserve to have, right? And so, and you're giving and not receiving anything in return. And so it's not to say that in order to give, we have to like have something in return. I'm not saying that, but a lot of times, right, in relationships, in projects that you're working on, right, there's reciprocity in some way, shape, or form, right? You see some sort of fruits of your labor. You see some sort of, you see something, right? You feel something, right? There's like a give and take, right? So this is more about like, I got allergies so bad. It's in the PNW now with spring and all the rain. It's like, oh my God, my eyes and everything itch. But my point was this. I got sidetracked for a second. My point is that there's just some things where you've just been plugging away at, or maybe you've been in your relationship and just trying to make it work. And it's like, having to come to the realization, like maybe it's not working, or maybe it will work, but there's a different route we need to take. There's another, maybe you have to go to therapy or something. I don't know. This is an example, right? So it reminds me of like, if you have a plant, unless your plant looks like it's dead, like, come on, we've all had like plants that look like they're dead, right? Either, maybe it was in the sun too long, you forgot to water it. I don't know, right? So, but you're like, no, my plant's not dead. I'm going to keep watering my plant because I'm going to bring my plant back to life. It's not dead. You go months and months and months. People tell you, no, your plant's dead. You're like, no, my plant's not dead. So you keep on watering it and it never comes back to life. And you're like, oh shoot, my plant is dead. And so you come to that realization, then you offer the plant back up to the earth. And that's kind of like the energy of this week, right? Some realizations of, you know what? Some of these plants are dead and I need to do something about it. I can continue watering this dead plant, or I can cut my losses. I can mourn, I can grieve, and I can decide that there are other plants that I can give my water to. Of course, figuratively speaking, but you feel me, right? You feel me. This full moon in Libra is so much about like, what if things go right for me? Because sometimes we stay stuck. We stay not making the moves. We keep on watering stuff that's dead because we're scared. And we're like, oh my gosh, this is the way I've always done it. Oh my gosh, we're scared, right? But that goddess of justice energy with that full moon in Libra, it's like, what if everything goes in my favor? What if this all works out? And I may be afraid because I'm doing something that I don't know. And what happened was I've gotten so used to this. What happens when you get so used to overextending yourself, when you get so used to watering other people's gardens instead of watering your own, you take it on as a badge of honor. You take it on like living with the rundownness and the overextended of existence, and you think that's just the way life is. But this full moon in Libra is a pause to say, what if there is another way? Now we have that Knight of Wands that came through in the cards that I pulled, and that's indicating that there's action that's going to be taken. And it's not that action's going to be taken this week, but it's what's surfacing on the realization of like, oh my gosh, I've been so out of flow with my own self-care. I've been so out of flow with even, expressing my needs and my wants. I have abandoned myself. I have lowered my expectations. There's all these things that are coming to consciousness, coming out from the deep, like, parts of our being, and they're coming to surface. And that's great because we want them to come to surface, because when we can be aware, we can be conscious aware, then we can make conscious choices to make the changes. So much consciousness is arising this week with the energy and in the cards. Be prepared that action from what is rising up this week will be taken, but it won't be taken to a little bit further towards Aries season. But prepare yourself, because you will be taking some great actions during the season of fire and of initiation. But you got to go through what's going to be coming up in this next week ahead. So bust out the tissues, get some chocolate, be prepared, because it's hard. It's hard to acknowledge when something isn't working, or, and sometimes you got to let things go. Or it's really sad when you're like, oh my gosh, I've abandoned myself. But the beautiful thing is when you're aware of it, then you can make change. So this week is an intense one. And I know that you are ready for it. You're down for it. I know I for sure am down and ready for it, because I abandoned myself for so long in all my different relationships. And I made a commitment now at 50 that I no longer will abandon myself. So I'll be excited to see what comes up in the deeper levels for myself as far as my healing journey around abandoning myself and all that kind of jazz. All right. Well, I'm going to go. I'm going to keep on sipping my tecito here. I got more things to do. That was your quick energy read for this week ahead. I got more things. It's Sunday. I got a lot more to do. I got like laundry and all that kind of stuff. That's another piece. So I have a podcast, and I podcast like every day, and I pulled the Two of Cups reverse for Monday. Isn't that interesting? Two of Cups reverse. This all ties into it. Self-care, soul care. When we're so busy taking care of everybody else, we forget to take care of ourselves, and we get out of balance, out of whack. That happens, out of flow. Let's get that flow back. All right? Peace, love, everything in between.